Hey everyone, at the time that I'm shooting this, escalation is increasing in the city of Kyiv and other cities around Ukraine, and people are scared, lives have been lost, people are in shelters, and friends and family are trying to figure out ways to get people out or safe in some way. And at the same time, what we're seeing in that is we're seeing this great unification of so many people in an effort of compassionate action to try and support. And that's one of the best traits of humanity that we can see. And so it's important to have that awareness around that. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 practices that can support us in regaining a sense of control over our mind, soothing our nervous systems, and also inspiring a sense of connection that we all need to overcome. Stay tuned. And if you're new here, then my name is Dr. Elisha Goldstein. I'm a clinical psychologist, I'm the author of numerous books, and also creator of the Mental Health Accelerator program called Uncover the Power Within. If you want to work more closely with me and an incredible group of people and have the opportunity to learn from a proven curriculum how to regain personal control of your mind and your life, then go ahead and click on the link in the description below. I want to start off with, if you humor me and stay with this, this has been a poem that has become viral, and it's by John Rudell, who's written a ton of other fantastic poems, and it really speaks to our level of anxiety and uncertainty and overwhelm and like what we can do about it in the state of what's happening right now. So hold on a second, let me share my screen over here so you can get a sense of this. This is an area called the Mindful Living Collective. It's a free global community, practice community, learning community that you can always jump into if you ever want to. But here it is. It says, I can't make the world be peaceful. I can't stall tanks from roaring down roads. I can't prevent children from having to hide in bunkers. I can't convince the news to stop turning war into a video game. I can't silence the sound of bombs tearing neighborhoods apart. I can't turn a guided missile into a bouquet of flowers. I can't make a warmonger have an ounce of empathy. I can't convince ambassadors to quit playing truth or dare. I can't deflect a sniper's bullet from turning a wife into a widow. I can't stave off a country being reduced to ash and rubble. I can't do any of that. The only thing I can do is love the next person I encounter without any conditions or strings. To love my neighbor so fearlessly that it starts a ripple that stretches from one horizon to the next. I can't force peace on the world, but I can become a force of peace in the world, because sometimes all it takes is a single lit candle in the darkness to start a movement. Lord, make me a candle of comfort in this world. Let me burn with peace. So, what that speaks to me is the helplessness that many of us feel in the face of the tragedy that's happening right now. And it also speaks to this focus of the brain's tendency to focus more on the negative, a negativity bias, and it tends to come into with what can't I do, like what I can't do. And the more we focus on what we can't do, the more helpless we feel. And the more helpless we feel, if we have a predisposition to anxiety or depression or trauma or anything like that, the more likely we are to slip into those old loops. So what John here says is, the poet says, what can I do here? I can't make peace happen, but I can be a force of peace. So the very first thing that we want to focus on here is we want to be able to neutralize the negativity bias within our minds. That's not to say don't think about the difficult things that are happening in the world right now. What that's saying is, if the negativity bias is telling you and focusing all the things you can't do and telling you can't do things, and that makes you feel more helpless, then we want to be able to recognize that, you know what, thoughts aren't facts. If you're telling me that I can't do anything, that's not actually true. There are certain areas that I can't do anything in. I mean, we go back to John Rudell's poem and we see all these things that I can't do. I can't make Putin make peace over there. I can't, create these things. I don't have that kind of power. But what I can do is be a force of peace in my area, in my neighborhood. I can choose to give even. These are all an antithesis of the negativity bias. And so what we do is we come up with this saying that says, when your thoughts race, notice the storylines you're creating in your mind. Thoughts are not facts. We need to check those out to make sure that what we're thinking is true, because what we think inspires certain feelings. And if we feel helpless, then we might want to ask ourselves, hey, is my mind telling the whole story here? So thoughts aren't facts. That's the very first thing. And if you can use that and bring that up as a mantra for yourself almost, and allow yourself to question the beliefs that are there that are holding you back and making you feel stuck, then you might just loosen up, create more cognitive flexibility, and that could be incredibly healthy for you. Second thing that I want to share with you here is around soothing the grief and overwhelm. There is a lot of tragedy happening right now. There's a lot of loss happening right now. And there is that, and there is a feeling of helplessness for a lot of us. And uncertainty is there as well. All of those things, a recipe for completely feeling overwhelmed and in a state of loss. And so what do we do with that? Grief and overwhelm are physical sensations in the body. They're feelings in the body, and as we continue to let them cycle, we overwhelm our nervous system, which increases a sense of cortisol running throughout our body, which depletes us. And cortisol is great if we have to get out of a certain situation and we're really in a need for a fight, flight, freeze response. But if it keeps running, we get super depleted. And so one of the practices that I'm going to put in the description below is a practice called the nourishing breath practice. So there's a reality around mind training our minds. We need to do this. Whether you think you don't, you don't. There's something training your mind all the time. And it's typically, this or something else. Our mind's always practicing something. And so if you want to practice becoming a bit more nourished, feeling more nourished in the moment because your mind's become so depleted and your body's become so depleted with the state of COVID over the last couple years and the state of what's happening in the world right now, then you're not really much help to anybody if you're really depleted, right? It's the whole idea of putting your oxygen mask on first. So what do? We do a little training in nourishing ourselves. And this is a practice directly out of the Uncover the Power Within program that I mentioned earlier. But I'm going to share a link below where you can begin practicing this on your own. This is called a nourishing breath practice. And what this is this is a practice where you're settling in. You can do this lying down if you want to. And you're just practicing recognizing the nourishment of this breath or bringing in what you're needing maybe. So your job, just play with it. That's something that can absolutely support you in soothing grief and overwhelm. Okay, the third thing. What we need when we're feeling helpless is we need to, and we typically feel, we're feeling helpless, we typically also feel isolated, alone, disconnected. That's what feeling helpless is. It's like we lost our tether to things. And so it's upon us. One thing that we know about the brain is when it's practicing something, even with a visualization in the mind, it actually activates the parts of the brain that are activated when we're doing those things. So you want to practice compassion and connection. Compassion means recognizing the struggle of another person or people with the inclination to want to support them. And so I'm going to also drop a link to another mind training practice, some people call them meditations, down below that's going to support you in growing that feeling of compassion within you. And again, all you're going to do is you're going to lie down or sit up if you have some sort of experience with practicing meditation or any kind of mind training practices, and with a straight spine. And you're going to go ahead and do this practice, just 10 minutes long. And the idea is to get your brain sparking in the direction towards connectedness, compassion, support, and that's going to also support you. We're not in any delusion that your mind is sending out things to people in Ukraine or other areas around the world that are in war right now, or people who are suffering or struggling. But we are giving the ability for you to practice a sense of inspire a feeling of connection that can go on to support you in the hours and days and weeks ahead. So this is absolutely for you. And to me, it's also the final piece, the cherry on top of this, is we want to be aware of the serenity prayer in all of this when it comes to this type of work, which is to grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, have the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I'll leave you with that. Go ahead and bring these into your life. I suggest with the mind training practices to just to weave them in. You can do one for a week, another one for a week. Bring these into your life during this time. Most importantly, we're basically sending a letter to our heart. And these are 3 practices in times of tragedy that can support us and allow the ripple effects to grow amongst our friends and family and the people that we care about, and hopefully touching people all around the world. Okay, if you enjoyed this or if this was supportive to you in some way, please remember to like this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to this channel. This is all about supporting you into getting into a better place in your life. And if you do want to work more closely with me and an incredible group of people, you can join the Mental Health Accelerator program called Uncover the Power Within. And you can click on the link below in the description to just learn more about it. Otherwise, I'm going to share a few videos that I really love on the other end of this for you to continue to growing and learning and enjoying. Okay, see you next time.